Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to Savannah SCORE's fourth presentation of the State of Small Business. A special thanks to our title sponsor, Wells Fargo, without whose assistance this couldn't be done. I am Bill Izzard, the current chair for this year of the Savannah chapter of SCORE. How many of you, as a show of hands, have gone on SCORE's webpage? Okay, thank you. Now, I want you people who raised your hand to look at the folks who at your table who did not and whisper, here's what you're missing. Go check it out. And I invite you to do it. It's a wealth of information. Don't let the sun go down today without doing it. You know, we've been around a while. October 1964 was our birth date, and we weighed 84 chapters. Now, we weigh over 300 chapters and growing. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of statistics, but there's a couple that I think are kind of important. We've got 24 certified mentors, all experts in various fields. Last year, these gentlemen and ladies did 695 client services. That totaled to over 740 hours of professional counseling advice, 23 workshops, 588 attendees. That's a lot of presence. In Savannah, you could say that our presence is well known. Over on the table to my right, your left, are some statistics on the impact SCORE's had over this past year on the number of jobs that have been created nationally and specifically right down to unit level, ourselves. Nationally, over 3,500 jobs, 3,500 new businesses. In Georgia, 1,200 businesses started, about 113 new jobs, and you could say, so what? What does it mean to me in Savannah? Well, in Savannah, the results are eye-opening. Price Waterhouse did this survey of our actual clients. SCORE's impact nationally has said, locally, we have gotten down to 110, new jobs, 164 new businesses started. The cost has been relatively low. It has been. Now, what does this mean to you? From a national basis, your SCORE chapter has done a good job for you. I'd like to ask two members of the head table to come forward. One is Art Slotkin. Art's our assistant district, or our district director for Georgia, and Gary Johnson, the deputy district director for Georgia. Gary was SCORE's president last year, as many of you remember. They've got something to present, and we'll show you the meaning of it to you. Art?
Thank you, Bill. I'm Art Slotkin, the director of SCORE, a volunteer. All of our members are volunteer. We have a very small paid staff in Washington. I'm one of 10,000 volunteers around the country who provide mentoring services and programs like this. In the past, during fiscal 2015, the Savannah chapter has achieved a milestone. It is a platinum chapter, and I'm going to present a certificate. What a platinum chapter means is that not only did it meet certain standards that are established, but it has had significant improvement in their performance, that is, providing services to clients. And that's how we're measured. We're measured by the Small Business Administration on the services we provide to clients. And SCORE is funded by federal appropriations and donations from industry. And we have seen on a bipartisan basis, Congress has increased our funding as a result of the 65,000 new jobs, which had a $3 billion impact in the last fiscal year. That's 1 year alone. So your volunteers, your 10,000 volunteers, have had a $3 billion impact. So I'd like to present this certificate to Bill and congratulate him on a job well done.
Now, here's the truth of the matter. I was not in command at the time this was earned. This gentleman was. He is the rightful owner and recipient of this award. And I present this now to Gary Johnson, who left me a very, very healthy organization and made me promise not to drop the ball. I'm going to try not to. Gary, congratulations. Okay. Now, at this point,
I have one more thing. We've started a new tradition here in SCORE in Georgia. Those of you who have been affiliated with the military know what a challenge coin is. I'll let Colonel Izzard explain to you what a challenge coin is, but he is now going to be a recipient, as is Gary, recipient of 2 Georgia challenge coins.
the challenge coin in the armed forces is presented to a person who is highly regarded and respected. I am not going to speak for myself here, but it comes with a little penalty. If you're ever caught without your challenge coin, you buy the house. I have mine in case anything had happened. I'm not prepared to buy this house, let me tell you that. I would like at this point to introduce our first speaker, Olga Lopez. Olga is the area president of Wells Fargo of Georgia Eastern Region. There's over 500 team members, 37 banks scattered throughout Georgia. Olga has had 25 years in the banking business, in sales, leadership with J.P. Morgan, Wachovia, and now Wells Fargo. He's been a branch manager, a coach, a small business manager, retail sales, leader, district manager. In other words, she knows banking. And give her a warm welcome. Olga, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Olga, and thank you again, Bill, for that great introduction. I have the pleasure of working here in the Savannah market. I'm the area president for Wells Fargo, Greater Georgia East region, and I have the privilege of working with more than 500 team members in 37 stores across Augusta, Savannah, Statesboro, and cities in eastern Georgia. I've called Savannah home since 2014, and Wells Fargo my home since 2005. It really feels like family at Wells Fargo. We call ourselves team members, and we sincerely feel that way. We're a team dedicated to our communities, where our banks serve our customers. I'm so glad to join you all here today in Savannah because there's so much opportunity for small business owners here and across Georgia. I don't have to tell you guys that. Many of you are doing the hard work every day. You're starting your businesses because, again, I know that's not an easy feat. If you're a business owner, I encourage you to fully engage with SCORE. SCORE is an invaluable resource that will give you the access to a network of business lenders, financial services providers, legal experts, and a host of other business influencers. That's why Wells Fargo continues to be a strong partner. We were here last year with you guys, and we partner with you all to work with Bill Izzard and SCORE every day. I'm so proud to work for a company like Wells Fargo who believes in providing small businesses the tools that they need to be successful. We're committing to helping small businesses succeed financially. SBA is an important way that we provide small business owners the financing that they need to build their small businesses. Recently, Wells Fargo announced that this year we've approved more SBA 7A loans for Georgia's small businesses than any other lender. With the year-over-year growth in SBA lending, more of Georgia's business owners are obtaining SBA loans to start, expand, and invest in a business and succeed financially. 2 years ago, Wells Fargo introduced Wells Fargo Works for small businesses. It's a broad initiative that delivers resources, guidance, and services to small business owners. I encourage you to check that out. Last year, we expanded the resource and the support that we offered through Wells Fargo Work for Small Businesses and launched the Business Plan Center for wellsfargoworks.com. Within the Business Plan Center, business owners have access to free step-by-step business plan tools to create or update their business plans, as well as a competitive intelligence tool that provides key insights on their business and the competition within the industry that can be used as a part of the planning process. We know the power and the possibility of Wells Fargo, and all of our small businesses, especially the small business owners, and there are more than 200 team members across the Metro Savannah area that are here ready to help you reach your financial goals. I look forward to talking with you about any way that we can help you, and our team members are here today to meet you all. It's been a privilege to be here today. Thank you.
For those of you who don't already know me, I'm Cecilia Russo. I'm here this morning to thank our sponsors. So, of course, SCORE, our title sponsor, Wells Fargo. And if you are here or someone from your business, please feel free to stand or be acknowledged. Marchese Construction, Joe Marchese. The Bowen Law Group, Charles Bowen. Carriage Trade Public Relations, Marjorie Young, past president of SCORE. Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce. Are you there? The City of Savannah, and several of you are here with us. Yay! You're good, Eddie. Thank you. My business, Cecilia Russo Marketing, is also a proud sponsor again this year, so we're glad to be here with all of you. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to invite Rule Joyner of 24E to the podium to introduce our new mayor, who is also a small business owner, the Honorable Eddie DeLoach. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Good morning. You know, to say I'm excited is an understatement. You know, it wasn't too many years ago, Marjorie, that I remember you and Joe asking me, do you think people will actually come to this? And not only will they come, but they're here. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Before we introduce the mayor, I just want to say we just found out from Art that this very same format is now happening tomorrow in Macon, and then in Hinesville, and then in Augusta this fall. This format has needed to happen for a long time. It's the fastest way to get the information out that all of us as small business owners need. Thank you.
You know, Marjorie, it wasn't too long ago that we called this the little engine that could, but the little engine that could is now the train that is.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much to you and Joe and SCORE, all of the sponsors, really outstanding. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, I'm really proud to be able to stand here and introduce Mayor DeLoach. He actually hates it when I call him Mayor DeLoach because he's one of us. He's like, call me Eddie. You know, the great thing about Eddie is he is one of us. And I've got this long list here of like his bio and what he's done, but most importantly, Eddie is one of us, and he has been doing this for 31 years. He's a small businessman that understands what it means to have to make the payroll. He understands what it means to put in long hours, and he understands what it means to have to sweat those details and be able to get it done. You know, it is to say that we are blessed to live in this time, to not only have someone on council that understands small business, but we have a mayor that is a small businessman. So let's give him a round of applause, Mayor Eddie DeLoach.
Hello there. Hey, I'm really glad to be here. I want y'all to understand that this is probably the most important thing that I can do, is recognize small business in our community. I have been out there. I have struggled out there just like you have. I have been the president of Tidewater Landscape Management, and I have cleaned the latrine at the same time. It's okay, because I'm a small businessman. I can do anything. Just like you, every day you get up and every day you challenge yourself to go forward and make it, and you have to make it. Not only when you first start so that your family depends on you, you depend on yourself to make it. Then you have people that work for you that every day they look at you and say, has he got a plan? And I look around the corner and I said, I don't know. I have to talk to him. But seriously speaking, it is such an honor to be here, because I know what you think and how you feel and how it is every day. I know the highs. There's nothing like a high of a successful bid, a successful job, successful any of those things that you get. And I also know how it feels when you lose that opportunity, or you're dependent on somebody to come through and all of a sudden that dude does not come through. And you say, how can that happen? And you have to go back and look in the mirror and say, hey, it happened. Get over it. Move forward. Tomorrow is coming. What you going to do? It's great to be a small business person. I was in a large company. I was with Kaiser Chemical for 10 years. Loved the job. Service, I moved up from into sales management. I was actually going to be F. Lee Bailey, be a lawyer. I was going to fly around a jet and save people. Unfortunately, I didn't make high enough on the LSAT to get in the back door, so I had to go and say, well, let's go to Plan B. And Plan B was to figure out what I was going to do. Well, I worked with Kaiser Chemical, and I love that, but when you're in business and you don't have to worry about where the check's coming from for payroll, that is whenever it's another feeling. I did that for 10 years. I gave out checks religiously, because my company was a great company, and I appreciated it, and I loved my company. But I didn't have to sweat the details. But on Thursday, I say that the person who is the closest to the Lord is a small business person that is in business, because sooner or later you're going to pray that you've got payroll covered. Always comes. Well, that's what we deal with every day, so that's why I'm so glad to be here. I am also the mayor. It's amazing. I didn't expect to be that. I wanted to be that. I felt like I could do a good job if I got an opportunity to do that, but reality, I'm a small businessman, and people look at you and say, well, small businessman. But in reality, we can do anything, because we have to do anything every day, because we never know what it's going to take. So I have that story, but I was sitting with Miss Olga Lopez. Miss Olga Lopez. I thought about it. I looked at her. She looks a whole lot better than I do. And I was talking with her, and she told me a story, because I'm here to introduce Summer 500 program. Has anybody ever heard of Summer 500 program? Yay! It's an initiative we started at the city of Savannah. We want to give people an opportunity to work so they can develop these people that we want to have in our workforce, that we want to have as entrepreneurs, that we want to have to run the city, to run the bank. This is an opportunity. Well, I talked to her, and lo and behold, she has a story that is just what I'm trying to tell you. And I asked her, I said, would you mind coming up here and just tell that story again? Because that story is what it's all about. So if you would, come up and give them a little taste of what I'm talking about.
You know, I'll make this short. He really didn't know what he was getting into. But I was sharing with the mayor that when I was younger, my father passed away. I was 14. And I had the privilege of working in a job training program that was funded by the government, Palacio's job training program. I was 15 years old when I first started working, and I had the honor of working at the county clerk's office, where I met other professionals and other individuals that really added to my personal development, to my career development. Had it not been for this great program, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the professional that I am today. I learned so many great skills, and so I commend you, Mayor, for giving others the same opportunity that I had. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow. Not the mayor, but Miss Olga. So if everyone knows the rules, you have 3 minutes. Noah, would you stand up for a moment? Noah is a timekeeper, and unfortunately, when the 3 minutes are up, Noah is going to vault onto the stage and stop you from speaking. All right? But in the interest of time, we have asked all of the presenters to keep things to 3 minutes. They do have some documentation in the handout that you've been given, so if you want to flip to them, you can follow along with some of the information that they will share.
We also encourage you to tweet using #SavScore. The Wi-Fi connection is Stand Wi-Fi, and you can log on using CCLD 2015. Because at the end of the 10 speakers, we are going to have a live audience participation confidence index, and it's going to go live right up there. So, so make sure that you can log in. There's instructions in the booklet on how to do it, but we'll walk you through it once the speakers are done.
Right. There should be this sheet on every table that explains how to do the confidence index. All right, so if you look on your table, there's one sheet, and we will do that immediately following the presentations.
So, and I want to give a shout out to Armstrong, because they did create this survey just for this state of small business this year. And I know it would have cost us a lot of money if we had to do that. So we are very grateful that Mike and Dr. Thoma and Dr. Barber took the initiative to do this, so thank you. All right, we are live streaming on Facebook Score. So you can also make comments and put information on the Facebook there. Let's see, what else? I think we are ready to go. So everybody ready for 3 minutes? It's kind of like speed dating. Not really. Okay. I am going to introduce the first speaker, Cristy Lawrence. She is PE Development Services Liaison with the City of Savannah, and her topic is local growth in construction. Please welcome Cristy.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm Cristy Lawrence. I'm a civil engineer and the liaison for development services at the City of Savannah. Our department provides permits, inspections, and also zoning and business approvals. We track construction activity within the city limits based on the construction cost or valuation of building projects. 2015 was a record year for permitting building construction activity, with $404.8 million in building permitting activity. That was 18% beyond the prior record, which was set in 2013 at $342 million. Prior to the recession, the highest annual total was $312 million in 2008. In 2015, we issued over 1,700 building permits and the top 20 permits in terms of valuation accounted for $234 million of the $404 million total. Many of these projects are visible in our community, such as the Mariner Grove Apartments on President Street, the SCAD Weston Dyson Residence Hall Complex, Otis J. Brock III Elementary School, the new VA Outpatient Clinic by Savannah Mall, the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Wilshire, many new projects at Gulfstream, and all the work you see being done on Broughton Street. Last year, we received the largest set of plans ever received for the Kessler Plant Riverside redevelopment. It had over 4,000 plan sheets. Once permitted, this will add another $130 million to the annual total. Through April 30th of this year, we've already had a strong year and have permitted projects totaling $167 million. Construction work within the city has also shifted since the recession to be more commercial than residential. New commercial construction hit its lowest annual total over the last 9 years in 2009 with $40 million. In 2015, it hit an all-time high of $223 million. New residential construction hit its lowest annual total over the last 9 years in 2011 with $30 million, and it has slowly been increasing to $71 million in 2015. This data shows that our local economy remains steady and strong, and that dollars are being spent on new buildings and new facilities, which is great for our local economy and for small business. The City of Savannah also continues to assist new businesses through our business approval process. Prior to signing a lease or purchasing property for a new business, please contact us to confirm the location is in a zoning district that permits the business use and that the existing building meets building and life safety codes requirements for the intended business use. You can get in touch with Aisley Jackson, the city's business approval coordinator, who's here today, or review the resources we have on the city's business approval webpage. Thank you.
So I don't know if you guys heard those numbers, but those are record numbers. And the start to this year is another record number. So it's just an amazing thing to be in Savannah right now on this day. It's my pleasure to introduce Rhett Mouche. Rhett is a fixture in Savannah real estate, and he has been a great asset to this presentation. He is an associate broker with Colliers. Mr. Rhett?
Good morning, and thanks for having me back. I think this is my third presentation, so I'm honored to be back. I'm just glad that one of those presentations didn't include the year '09, so we're good to go right now. We've got positive news on the commercial real estate sector, and if you look at the surveys, I think you'll see that we're doing as well or better as a lot of leading towns, cities throughout the country. Our Chamber of Commerce and the Moody's Analytics newsletter basically states the reasons for Savannah's growth: tourist attraction, aerospace manufacturing center, successful deep water port, and a regional hub for health and educational services. So I'm going to briefly discuss how those growth sectors really affect the commercial real estate market and look at the statistics there. Industrial sector, that's our hottest button. Savannah is the fastest growth sector for the industrial sector, and our vacancies decreased from 30% during the recession years to the present day of only 3%. And folks, that's 3% of about 47 million square feet out there. Matter of fact, our industrial sector is growing so rapidly is that we absorbed right at 900,000 square feet of space during the first quarter of 16. 900,000, that's a lot of space to be absorbed, which gives you an idea of our warehouse growth. So that growth means really one major factor to look forward to in this next year is that the demand for more land, demand for more product. So look through those sectors of Highway 21, Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, all up and down Interstate 1695 for available land, because a lot of that's going to be converted to warehouse use to accommodate the growth of the port. Our retail sector, that's our second hottest button. In some ways is growing as rapidly as our industrial sector. I reported in 2013 vacancies of only 6.2%. 2014, 5.7%, and even with the Tanger outlet added to the inventory, we still have a vacancy of only around 5%. And those specialty retail centers, a lot of them have occupancies of almost 100%. So look at your favorite shopping center, your favorite power center. You don't find really many vacancies there, and all this affects small businesses, I think, pretty much in a positive way, because it shows that the disposable income sector is growing. I've got to talk about the central business sector, because that's where I am. That's what I've concentrated on for the last 40 years. And the central business district, Broughton Street, and the emerging Dairyland district are all changing faces at a fast pace. With the ongoing renovations along Broughton Street, I guesstimated that we probably had a vacancy of about 10%. We were looking at 90% occupancies, and really that's a conservative number. But after talking with Daniel Lewis with Ben Carter Enterprises, they really only have four vacant spaces of all the retail space that's down there, and they have leases working on all those. So we're probably somewhere between 90 and 95% occupancy on Broughton Street, with rents pushing above the $40 square foot range in a lot of sectors. So I'm getting flashed that I'm running out of time, so the only thing I'm going to talk about is the office sector very briefly. Our office sector has remained steady for the last, I want to say, several years, which I don't think is a very good thing, because we're showing in the significant buildings around downtown Savannah, the west side and the south side, about a 15% vacancy. It's averaged 15 to 17%, but we only had 24,000 square feet in 15 of really new construction in the office sector, so we're not growing very rapidly. So anyway, that's more to go, but that's my 3 minutes. So that's the commercial office retail sector for today.
Thank you, Rhett. Boy, that's really good news. Thumbs up. Fabulous. Okay, our next speaker is Faith Copeland Pittman, Business Services Representative for the Georgia Department of Labor Business Services Unit. And her topic is local labor statistics. Please welcome. Faith.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here to welcome on behalf of the Georgia Department of Labor and our Business Services Unit, as well as our Savannah Career Center. And also happy to announce that the unemployment rate continues to decline, slowly but steadily and surely, in Metro Savannah. The rate is currently 5.1% for March, and that's compared to 5.6% last March in 2015. Significant job growth, 4.2%, and that's in sectors all across the board, including leisure and hospitality, professional business services, education, health services, trade, transportation, et cetera, et cetera. Most of all, are excited to tell you about some of our services at the Department of Labor. First of all, if you're interested in statistics, there's a wealth of those available to you. You can customize them using a tool called Labor Market Explorer that's on our website. And this past year, we also launched a new program called Employee Georgia that's utilized by our job seekers for job searches, as well as our employers to do recruitment. So we offer customer service in two types now. Those who prefer technically savvy, we were having a conversation about that earlier, and just like to do things yourself. That is now available online. You can access our talent database, as well as if you prefer to just pick up the phone and call and have us do that for you, we're happy to assist you. The Business Services Unit was created, a vision of our Commissioner, Mark Butler, to make sure that we are providing great customer service to our employers. I use the word customize and advocate. So sometimes, government agency folks, I like to say I like to exceed expectations. So if there's something you feel we can help you with, please give us a call. I also wanted to invite you to attend our Employer Summit. November 16th will be at the College of Coastal Georgia in Brunswick, and our Commissioner, Mark Butler, will be there. Again, he's very interested in meeting the needs of our employers and our business community, and thank you for what you do.
I'd like to introduce Marshall Tuck. Marshall Tuck is just a valued member of the Gulfstream community, and the beauty of Gulfstream is that Gulfstream is a staunch employer of small businesses. So some people think that it's odd to have Gulfstream at a small business event, but there are over 2,500 businesses that make up the back of the Gulfstream House. So welcome, Marshall.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for allowing me to present Gulfstream Small Business to the community once again. Gulfstream's success comes from the leadership and the people working inside of Gulfstream. It's easy to succeed when management is vested in small business and truly supports our small business community and leads by example. During the past 5 years, Gulfstream's procurements have grown from $535 million to $642 million. That's showing about a 20% increase. The key factors for the growth are a new products support distribution center, the additional manufacturing facilities, the service center expansion, and the introduction of 2 new aircraft models. Gulfstream's small business spend for the coastal Georgia area, which includes Georgia, Florida, and Alabama, exceeds $326 million annually during the fiscal year. The Georgia spend reached $202 million last year, which is about double the year before. And the Savannah spend for the area is $110 million for the Savannah and the surrounding counties. Additionally, the small business growth was created by sub-tier work performed by large small businesses which perform contracts on Gulfstream campuses. Approximately 22% of Gulfstream's domestic large business spend is awarded to sub-tier businesses, which are small businesses. On an annual basis, the sub-tier spend is about $70 million. Currently, Gulfstream has over 15,000 employees corporate-wide and 9,400 in Savannah. Our employees provide a basis for the growth, the startup of many new small businesses, including fast food and beverage, entertainment, construction in the surrounding Chatham community. Over the past 5 years, Gulfstream has shown a 34% growth in total procurements, so our spend is continuing to grow. Nationally, 30% of our domestic procurements are businesses which are small businesses. In Georgia, that percent is 54%. So half of what we do in Georgia goes to the small businesses. Our business efforts are integrated in all of our sites and locations and utilized in all the departments. Gulfstream Aerospace is a wholly subsidiary of General Dynamics. Achieving Gulfstream's advanced vision is possible through an ongoing commitment to attract, train, advance the brightest minds in all disciplines required to develop and build the Gulfstream fleet. The products and service and experiences that we create make traveling in the Gulfstream aircraft second to none. Gulfstream and General Dynamics remain financially strong as we soar into 2016. Thank you.
And I'm sure for every small business owner in here, you know that if you want to do business with Gulfstream, he's the man. You got to go through him. Thank you, Marshall. Okay, our next speaker is Tony O'Reilly, President of the Small Business Assistance Corporation, and his topic today is small business access to capital in the Savannah region. Please welcome Tony.
Thank you. Thank you, Marjorie. Appreciate it. This is a great way to celebrate National Small Business Week. This week, everybody across the country is saying thank you to small businesses, and for good reason, obviously. Access to capital. Last year, what happened was that the portfolios of traditional banks declined 3% for small business loans for a variety of reasons. New regulations, tight market conditions, and essentially and interest rate spreads for the banks. It's been a difficult environment. If you go to page 6, you can see the graph of our trends from 2013. But that was from the Small Business Congressional Committee. But locally, I can say that our trends are different. We are seeing good growth in our volume. Our credit markets have improved plenty since 2 years ago. The lending standards have moderated somewhat, and cost of funds is very, very affordable. If you're a credit-worthy small business, you probably have a lot of banker friends these days. But having said that, startups, first level expansions still are experiencing tight credit conditions. Fortunately, in our area, we have some creative bankers, and they are willing to use the alternative credit programs that are out there, like SBAC. They essentially have, these programs are designed to help them make you a loan. If they can do 70%, SBAC perhaps can do the next 30% with an SBA loan, with a direct loan from the Small Business Revolving Loan Fund of the City of Savannah. So we're in there to do gap financing and help your banker say yes. So if you need money and you go there, remind them that there's a way that this can get done. Your environment is good. There's a lot of lenders out there, not just traditional lenders. One of the reasons for the decline in traditional lending is that all these online guys, PayPal's in the business, Square, Cabbage, On Deck, they're all out there. They're all looking to do business. They're low touch and they're high tech, but they are taking over a nice share of the market. Go to page 6 and go to SBAC website, www.sbac.com. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and good afternoon. I am a small business owner, and I have been for the last 32 years. So I recognize everything that the mayor said. We have to do it all. We start small, we think big, and we keep growing. And what is helping us all grow, as everybody talks here today about bringing more businesses and having small businesses, is we need bandwidth. We need internet bandwidth. Everything today revolves around bandwidth and how much you can get and how many devices and instruments that you can put on that bandwidth. Look today, right here, we are streaming off of her cell phone this whole conference. And at best, a lot of people have more bandwidth on their cell phones than they even have at their offices. I'm going to take a step back and go back to 1984 when I started my business. There was never enough bandwidth. There was no bandwidth. There was no internet. And now, I would say as recent as 2005, we bonded DSL circuits together so that we could get more bandwidth. And it wasn't until just recently that small business owners could really start taking advantage of a lot of the applications that are out there, because believe it or not, Comcast started with their cable modems, and that made big bandwidth affordable for all of us, because before it was not affordable. So I know that the city and the county are trying to expand on where all the bandwidth and the internet is in this town, because for us to stay competitive as small business owners, for the city and the county to attract larger businesses to this area, there needs to be a map, there needs to be a guide, there needs to be something that when they're talking to large companies to come to Savannah, they can say, wow, I want to be right there because you guys can now give me gigabit speeds. But right now, there's no gigabit in this town. Soon there will be. Comcast is getting ready to deploy some gigabit fiber, and that's going to help a lot. The price on that is coming way down. Again, this is all driven by cost. So what we need is gigabit fiber internet in this town to increase the footprint. It will help bring more revenues into the city, more taxable revenues, because people will come that have bigger pockets. It will help all the companies use cloud-based technologies for their applications up into the cloud. And right now, small businesses are operating everything off of one, usually internet pipe. They're operating their voice, their data, their websites, their surveillance cameras. So I can't say and stress enough how much bandwidth people really need and how important it is to small businesses. It used to be when you were looking to relocate your business, he's waving, I gotta go. It used to be when people looked at relocating their business, it was location, location, location. And now it's bandwidth, bandwidth, and bandwidth. So I say build it and they will come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan Spiros, and congratulations on 32 years. Okay, our next speaker is Cindy Landolt, Revenue Director for the City of Savannah, and her topic is local tax revenue trends. Hey, Bill Edwards.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. The Revenue Department handles property taxes, utility billing, business-related taxes, and central cashiering for the city. The benchmark that I'd like to talk about first is the business tax amounts that are collected by the City of Savannah. The total collected in 2015 was $4,305,790. That is up from our 2014 total of $4,217,728. Over 1,000 new businesses filed business tax returns for the first time in 2015. That's compared with 2014's previous total of 750. We had about 45% of our businesses that are reporting indicate gross receipts of less than $100,000. This is up from last year by about 7%. Over 5,300 businesses who submitted information state they have 10 or fewer employees. Obviously, these are small businesses. That's about 76% of all the businesses that report in the city. Tourism-related taxes definitely showed an upward trend in 2015, with alcohol-related taxes up almost $134,000 in 2015, and auto rental taxes up about $67,000. Once again, though, the star or the hotel-motel taxes up about $1.8 million over 2014, and up $3.9 million since 2013. Just for comparison purposes, over the 5-year period from 2010 to 2015, the amount of hotel-motel taxes collected has increased about $6.7 million. That's huge. With all the new hotels planned and more visitors coming to our city, we can continue to hope for revenues from these sources to continue to grow. Finally, for all of you who are interested, although we've had some problems along the way, we're slowly but surely getting back on track with our utility bills. I know you all can't wait for your water bills to come. We sincerely appreciate your patience and understanding as we've worked through some issues that we faced, and we look forward to continuing to serve you. If we can be of help in any way, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Charles Bo Bowen of the Bowen Law Group, and he is a commercial, banking, entertainment, and manufacturing attorney, and he is going to speak about the film industry in Savannah.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Now, the story of the Savannah film and entertainment industry is, it's got more twists and turns than pretty much any Hollywood movie. Since the invention of cameras, Savannah's always been a destination for movie makers, but it wasn't really a priority to the city itself until the year 2011. Now, in that year, CETA commissioned a study by the Stanford Research Institute to identify Savannah's greatest opportunity for economic growth. And they did a year-long study, ultimately determined that the entertainment industry had more potential for growth than any other industry, and it was essentially just sitting there untapped. Now, from there, in 2011, things progressed rapidly. Other states like Louisiana, North Carolina, and Florida started pulling back on their incentives, while the state of Georgia started increasing theirs. Georgia now has the greatest tax incentive program of any state in the country, and they are now third in the country, behind only California and New York in terms of entertainment dollars spent. Unfortunately, Savannah, at first, was only getting about 1% of the money being spent in the state of Georgia. But then CETA came along and they passed a local incentive. And that local incentive was to promote Savannah within the state, and they gave filmmakers an additional rebate on top of what the state of Georgia was already giving them if they would film primarily in Chatham County. And since that was announced, production in Savannah and Chatham County has just exploded. Now in 2014, Savannah had its best year ever, as local spending related to the entertainment industry totaled about $18 million. Well, that's when Georgia passed their incentive, and the next year, as Georgia's tax incentives then became the best in the country, total spending in Savannah jumped in 2015 to $60 million. Now that's actual just spending. The actual economic impact exceeded $125 million in 2015. And now that the local rebate has kicked in, starting in January of this year, 2016 is already on pace to far surpass 2015. So it is truly a booming industry, and I believe it will soon be right up there with the port and with tourism as one of the key pillars of Savannah's economy. And in closing, I'll just mention this. The entertainment industry is different than a lot of others in this way. It can benefit pretty much every single person sitting in this room. When a movie production comes to town, they have every single need that a community needs. It's an entire community coming to town. So if you want them to reach out to you, all you have to do is register with the Savannah Film Office at filmsavannah.org or savannahfilm.org, either one works. Register with them. They will put you down. You'll be on a database that will be available to any production that comes to town. So who knows? Get to make extra money and meet some movie stars. It's a win-win. So thank you.
What awesome information. We did not have the film industry represented up here last year, and we asked Bo to do it because he's head of the Savannah Film Alliance. So, okay, our next speaker here is Dr. Michael Toma, Director of the Center for Regional Analysis at Armstrong State University, and his topic is Small Business Employment Stats. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back here. This summit is a great idea. It's been a great idea for a long time. It's a quick, very efficient way to learn a lot about different sectors in Savannah. We've already heard a lot about growth in obviously the film industry and in construction, commercial construction, building permits. These numbers, what we're hearing from each of these individual professionals here is perfectly consistent with all the data that I'm looking at the kind of from the big picture 50,000 foot level for businesses in Chatham County with less than 50 employees. That's about 40% of the employment base in Chatham County at firms with less than 50 employees. The fastest growth between about mid-14 and about mid-2015 was in the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector. So that was up by about 16% over the previous year. So small businesses in arts, entertainment, and recreation are doing very well. Manufacturing, small business manufacturing is up about 7%. Small business is engaged in professional and business services. Those are up about 7%. Retail trade is up about 7%. So it makes sense. In particularly, one thing what's notable is in the small business construction sector. As you know, if you are in that industry, the 2007 to 9 recession was a very miserable time. It was more like a depression for folks in the construction industry. We are now finally seeing recovery in not only in construction industry on a region-wide level, but also in Chatham County and in particular in small businesses engaged in construction in Chatham County, up about 7% from mid-14 to mid-15. That's the most recent data that we have at the small business level. Since mid-15 to about the present, our employment numbers are on trend, on track with what we've seen over about the last 30 months or so. So with particular growth in business and professional services, that's where most of you probably make your livelihood. The growth in that sector has been strong too, so that's also carried small businesses up along with it. So the numbers look good. We're up by about 3 to 4 percentage points in terms of employment growth over the last year. In Chatham County, in particular, in Chatham County itself, Employment was up about 7% from mid-14 to mid-15, and in small businesses in Chatham County, it was up about 6%. So the share of that growth is spread not only among the big firms, but it's also being shared among your constituents and your colleagues in small businesses as well. Thank you.
Before he leaves the podium, I'd like for you to talk about the Small Business Institute that you have at Armstrong that you just started.
Well, I'll put a plug in for my colleague Dennis Barber, who's actually the person that we hired to run a Small Business Institute. It's an umbrella organization that is meant to provide consulting services to businesses at low or basically no cost. So please speak to Dennis Barber, Dr. Barber, about interests and questions that you may have. Student research teams work in a group over the course of a semester with small businesses. In the hallway the other night, the small business folks who have been effectively consulting with the students, they had their final presentations, and I saw a whole bunch of well-dressed young students who had very intelligent and bright and useful things to say to the businesses that they were working with. So I'll give a shout out to Dr. Barber. Thank you for joining the staff at Armstrong and our economics department. We're very pleased to have you and your initiative with the Small Business Institute. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. This is my second year here in Savannah. Before I came, I was also a small business owner. Before completing my PhD and deciding to take the academic route, in turn, I still have a very strong interest in the small business sector and seeing the success. One thing that I noticed when I first came in, and this is true mainly in any of the cities I've lived in, and I've lived in a number in the past 7 years, it's really hard to find data on small businesses. There's macro level data, there is regional data, there's industry specific, certain firms will sponsor industry specific research. One of the main initiatives that besides the consulting projects that the students do, the Small Business Institute is conducting micro level research from the firm's perspective. So we just finished maybe last week with the first rollout of data collection. We have some preliminary results, which I'm going to talk about. However, if you are interested in participating in this survey, if you own a small business, please get in touch with me. Later in the summer, we'll do another wave of data collection. We collect data on firm size, concerns you have, things you believe the city's doing well, things you believe the city can improve on. At this point, you can see some of the data about the firm size as far as revenue and number of employees there. There was little business contraction. We asked questions that were backward looking so businesses could tell us what happened over the last year. And 88% of the businesses said employment either increased or there was no change. So there was very little business contraction as far as firm size contraction. Same thing happened in revenue. Over 72% of the businesses said either revenue increased or remained flat. So once again, on a firm level basis, there was very little decrease in revenue. Business conditions. This was another interesting group of questions. How would you describe changing conditions in the business within your local economy? Over 77% of the businesses who participated said it remained the same, slightly better, which was the largest group, or significantly better. So that gave us an idea of small business owners and how they're viewing the local economy and the support that they're giving. And one more statistic, I have no idea which ones I wanted to read until I got up here because I thought they all were important. So be on the lookout for the newsletter, which will have all the results. One of the main things that was interesting to me is what's the single most important problem facing your business? Taxes, quality of labor force, which I'm very interested in from the academic standpoint, and poor sales. Were the top three, and that made up over 65% of the responses. And in your opinion, what do you believe your city, county, development authorities could do to support small businesses? Interesting enough, number one was reduce crime. Second was improve K through 12 education. 3 was create tax incentives, and 4 was a tie between reducing red tape and educating small business owners. There's much more here. If you're interested in participating in the survey or want to hear more about consulting, get in touch. Thanks for having me.